everyone, are you well? So with the cost of living going through the roof and toys getting ever more expensive, I wondered if I could make my own Star Wars Legion tanks on the cheap, and perhaps give you some ideas on how to save money by making your own tabletop accessories. Enter stage right, empty Hubba Bubba containers, and yes, I had been blowing bubbles for the past 2 weeks, and not in that way, to get these empty for this week's build. So I've already glued one containers together, but to get there I had to sand down the plastic in a well ventilated room and trim away any embossed letters or numbers. I always use a blunt knife when doing this, as we don't need any unnecessary trips to the A&E department. And once all that was done, I used hot glue to get a nice firm bond when I stuck the containers together. Now, why are you using hot glue and not super glue, I don't hear you ask. Elementary, my dear Watson. This type of plastic sticks better with the hot gooey stuff, but having said that, you'll probably see me use super glue later in the video, so what the hell do I know? To hide the seam I use a bit of cereal cardboard and mush that down. Job done. Then it's onto the cotton bud or Q-tips as we English folk like to call them. Since the plastic has changed to cardboard, they're not much good for anything, but for me they will hide these recesses and become panels to act as a windshield for my tanks. And once that was done, I used more of this cereal box to hide the crevasse in between the containers. I chopped said cereal box up into little cute squares and stuck them on the cardboard to act as the tank treads. Then a couple more were added to make the tank look like it had visors. Once all that was done, I went outside and stole a kid's toy which happened to be a battleship. Not the best mugging in the world, but this will do. Then I spent 10 minutes wondering if that child was still out there to see if I had any other toys. Sadly he wasn't, so I chopped up my battleship. And so began the process of finding little greeblies I could stick onto the containers to make it more Star Wars looking. Now, so far I've probably spent a couple of euros on the bubblegum. Everything else, bar the pending lawsuit for me stealing a kid's toy, has been random stuff, bits and pieces I found around the home. So, ladies and gentle germs, I think I've proved a point that all that junk or broken toys you have laying around your home or workshops can come to good use. And that leads us to tank number 2. And we're just over the 3-minute mark, so this week's code word is Lando. Now, put that in your comment and I'll know you've stayed awake up till this point. And we'll just zap through the next bit. The only thing I changed was I put a tank track from an old tank model kit on it instead of using cardboard. Making sure the coast was clear and there was no mob of angry mothers with sobbing children, I primed both tanks a black matte, then quickly retreated back into my man cave, where the painting process can begin. I used a grey coat as my first coat, even though technically it was the second coat, but who the hell's listening at this point anyway? Once the grey had dried, I broke out my chipping medium from Green Stuff World, and if I don't get a sponsor by these guys shortly, I'll have to resort to sending begging letters, I guess. Anyway, what you do with this chipping stuff is paint it on all the places you think chipping would happen. And since I paint like I have boxing gloves on, that meant I hit everything with the chipping medium. Now you've got to let that dry, then apply the second coat of paint. Or is that the third coat of paint? I've lost count. Oh well. Look, I used the white sparingly. Well, in my mind that's what I thought I did, but I ended up covering the tank completely with white. So to tone all that down, I used a sand colour, which I tried only to hit the high points with, kind of. Then, using a clean brush and water, you slowly brush where you think you've applied the chipping medium, and eventually you get variations in the paintwork. And I'm not lying, but this took some time and patience, which I realise now I don't have, but you slowly see the chips once the goop is wiped away. Like I said, it took some time, and I slowly realised I'd spent half an hour of my life that I would never recapture, so I think dropping a like on this video will make up for that. Thank you. And I left this bit in just so you guys could see that it does actually work. So thanks Green Stuff World, fantastic product. Don't know what else to say. Sponsor? Then it was on to the fun part with the weathering powders. So I think I did it by making 2 cheap tabletop tanks for Star Wars Legion. Next is the glamour shots, so thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every like, comment and sub. It really helps the channel, and until next time, keep scratching that build everybody.